How's it going today? I'm sure you've seen many different types of ranking videos for Borderlands, but I don't think anyone has done this specific topic. Today, I'm going to be ranking every story mission in Borderlands 2. This is 100% my opinion, and the way that I'm going to be ranking these is how much content's in each mission, how enjoyable it is to play, and how important to the overall story that mission is. And just my personal opinion, I'll explain why I put each mission in the tier that I put them in. The first story mission of the game is My First Gun. Now, I think it's gonna go in D tier, and I'll explain why. There's only two objectives for this whole mission: getting a gun, and as soon as you open the cabinet, the mission's over. I will say, the part where Knuckle Dragger comes into Claptrap's cave and takes out his eye, that part is pretty cool. However, I feel like this mission and Blindsided, which is the next mission, they could have just been put together. Now the next mission, Blindsided. I think that this is a B tier mission. There's much more objectives, it introduces small enemies, as well as Knuckle Dragger, which can drop you a legendary. If you kill Knuckle Dragger for your first time ever and get a Hornet, that's gonna be a pretty cool feeling. And even playing this game now, whenever I get a Hornet from Knuckle Dragger on the story mission, it's awesome. You also get more introduced to Claptrap's humor in this mission, and I think it's a pretty enjoyable mission overall. When you've played the story over 30 times, this mission can feel a little boring. Now the next one, Cleaning Up the Berg. I think that this is honestly a C tier mission. Meeting Hammerlock is pretty cool, and the part where Claptrap runs into the electric fence, that's pretty funny every time I play it. There's just not a lot of content to this mission. You walk down into Liarsburg, kill bandits and more bullymongs, and then Hammerlock kind of turns on the power for you. Best Minion Ever's the next mission coming up, and for right now, I think that this is easily an S tier mission, because there's a lot to this. You fight two different bosses, or two different mini bosses. Boom Boom's a very cool fight. I thought that Big Bertha was one of the coolest things in the game when I first saw it. Obviously, there's much better content down the line, but as one of the first bosses you fight, Boom Boom is a crazy jump up from Knuckle Dragger, who's just a big bullymong. You also hop in a cannon and launch Claptrap into Flint's ship. Flint is also a very cool early game boss. The mission ends with you boarding Claptrap's ship and heading to Three Horns, which is pretty cool. And after you finish this mission, it kind of feels like the story's picking up. The next mission is the Road to Sanctuary, and I feel like this is another B tier mission. Now the reason that I think this is better is because it just has more content to it. You get to drive a car for the first time, you hear Scooter, Roland hops on the intercom, and you have to go save Corporal Reese. And then after that, you head into Sanctuary and start meeting everyone in there. Okay, now Plan B. This one, I think this is only a C tier mission. It is cool to set up everything in Sanctuary, but because the city's not in the sky yet, there's not a crazy amount of content. You just end up talking to Scooter. It introduces the black market system with Earl, which is pretty cool, but I feel like any mission could have introduced that. It's just in here because you need to go buy the extra power core from him. Now, Hunting the Firehawk. This is one of the cooler missions in the game. I think that this is a solid A tier mission because there's a lot of mystery when you first play it. I feel like if you played Borderlands 1, you might be able to figure out that it's Lilith before, but the very first time I played this, I was completely surprised. I thought it was going to be an enemy that you had to fight. The mobbing section at the end can get a little repetitive if you've played it plenty of times. Now, A Damn Fine Rescue. I feel like this mission is very loved or hated because getting to find Roland is super cool. There's a lot to do in this mission. You have to honk at the Bloodshot Stronghold, and then you go and meet Ellie, get the bandit parts, build a new car, and then you finally make it into Bloodshot Stronghold, but not before you have to fight Bad Moth. However, Bloodshot Stronghold itself is what people don't necessarily like. There's a lot of enemies in this, and especially the toilet bowl room. That area is just super annoying to fight in. Once you make it through Bloodshot Stronghold, you find Roland in jail, where then he gets picked up by Warden, and you have to go to Bloodshot Ramparts and take out Warden. Also, if you don't kill Warden in time, he'll take Roland to Friendship Gulag, which is in the dust, which I think is a pretty cool feature, but can definitely be annoying if you're a new player. I think this mission is good. However, there are some negatives to it. It does kind of drag on for a long time. So I think, the more that I'm thinking this, I honestly think Road to Sanctuary, that's a C tier mission right there. Damn Fine Rescues, a B tier mission. It should be like that. I think this is looking good right now. Now, the next mission is a train to catch. Now this one is very fun. This is a low A tier mission because the mission starts out with you heading to Tundra Express, where you see Mordecai, and throughout this mission, Mordecai helps you by sniping the VAR kids and some of the bandits. After that, you meet Tina, and Tina tells you that you need to go get rockets. Actually, the more I'm explaining this mission, I feel like this is better than hunting the Firehawk. It's a pretty fun mission. You get explosives, which then blow up a train, and then at the very end, you meet Wilhelm. You're face to face with Wilhelm. Lilith and Roland hype up Wilhelm as the super hard fight because of what he did in New Haven, where he wiped out the entire town. However, when you fight him, it's a relatively easy fight and you kill him quickly. He drops this power core, and Roland mentions that he's never seen anything like it. You head back to Sanctuary, and that's when the next mission starts, which is Rising Action. Now I think this is also an A tier mission. You take this power core back to Sanctuary, where you put it in, and little do you know, it's been a trap by Jack. Jack gave you a fake power core which takes down Sanctuary's defenses, and then the Plan B mission that you prepped for earlier, now you put that into play. And I think that's why this mission is much better than Plan B, but Plan B is still necessary. You go and grab some iridium from Roland, give it to Lilith, and then Lilith causes Sanctuary to fly up in the air. And now, this mission isn't a long one, but it is very cool, and I think the first time you play it, it takes you by surprise. It's a really fun mission. Bright Lights Flying City. I'm gonna be honest, this is one of my least favorite missions in the entire game. I think some people might like it, and if you don't agree with my F tier, that's fine, but I think it's a pretty bad mission. You get lost, and you can't travel back to Sanctuary. Kill a Thresher, which gives you a beacon, and then you go to Overlook. It starts a 10-minute sequence where loaders constantly spawn into Overlook, and you need to fight them off, while defending a beacon. Now, it's fine if this beacon gets broken, however, it's annoying that you have to repair it every time. If it breaks 7 or 9 times, I believe, after that, the game just feels bad for you and you just won't have to repair it anymore. I just think this mission is kind of unnecessary and almost just filler. It's just a lot of killing and mobbing, and then after that, you're able to just teleport right back to Sanctuary. I get why they added it into the game, but after playing for a long time, this mission is just super boring. Now, wildlife preservation. This, in my opinion, is another S tier mission. I know some people are going to disagree with that. Probably a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but I think this is one of the coolest missions of all time. I played Mordecai the first time that I played Borderlands 1, so I might be a little bit biased, but having to go save Bloodwing while Mordecai devises this plan is a pretty cool mission concept. The wildlife exploitation preserve can be pretty annoying to fight through, but at the same time, I enjoy this mission, and I really like the Bloodwing fight at the end. I think the reveal at the end where Bloodwing is this giant elemental bird that Jack created is really cool. And I was pretty upset the very first time I played the game and Bloodwing died. Now, the Once and Future Slab. I think this is another A tier mission, mainly for the fact that you get to meet Brick. It's the final main Vault Hunter from Borderlands 1 that you meet. I honestly don't know if you'd know it was Brick. I didn't the very first time I played it, and I thought that reveal was pretty cool, where he jumps down, grabs the hammer, and then takes off his mask and says, "That was awesome." I feel like most people would have thought it was about to be a boss fight. I'd say that this is one of the more enjoyable mobbing sections in the game, because the whole time the Slab King or Brick's up there kind of cheering you on to kill all of his guys, which I think is pretty funny. And the sarcastic Slab after you finish is probably one of the funnier enemies in the game, especially when you kill him and he just kind of falls over. The beacon step isn't the most enjoyable thing, but it's not crazy. It's not like you have to take out 5 beacons. It's only 3, and as long as you're killing robots, it's pretty easy. Brick can also just kill them for you, which is a nice touch. I think that's a mid-A tier mission. It's pretty good. The Man Who Would Be Jack. This mission, strictly for the fact that the Bodies Doubles AI is so bad. It is I want to say D tier. It could be C tier easily, but if you don't have the right gear, basically you start shooting at Jack and then he'll just run across the map. He just runs away from you every time, which I think makes this mission super annoying. It's also not the most detailed mission. You kill Jack's body double and then just go around to 4 different buttons and press them, and then pick up a chip at the very end of it, and that's the entire mission. I will say the fact that it introduces Jack body doubles for the first time is very cool. Overall, the mission itself is only a D or very low C tier, but I'm gonna put it in D. Where Angels Fear to Tread. This, in my opinion, is one of the best, if not the best mission in the entire game. There's so much you have to do here. The reason that this mission is so great is because of, one, how much content is packed into this mission, and how the previous few missions were all leading up to this one, where you had to get the Claptrap upgrade from Bloodwing, you had to get Brick on your side to help with the air support with the buzzards, and then you had to go and get the voice modulator so you'd be able to make it into Angel's Chamber. This mission starts with you getting Claptrap, you head to 1,000 Cuts, and then you slowly make your way up towards the big bunker base where Angel is. There's one big constructor in the first area, and then there's a super big constructor in the second area. And if you are not geared up for this, this is one of the harder missions in the game. After you make it up there, you start having to take out turrets so the buzzards can land. However, once you take out all the turrets, Jack reveals that the bunker isn't an actual bunker underground or something like that, but it's a flying robot. It kind of looks like a crunch wrap. That reveal for the first time, I was definitely surprised about that also. Now, this boss fight with Zero is one of the easiest in the game. With almost any other character, and if you don't have a good build and really don't know what you're doing, it's a pretty hard boss fight. He has a lot of health and it takes a long time to take out. I will say Control Core Angel can be a little bit repetitive, especially after you've played the game a lot. A lot of missions are like that. I've mentioned that a few times through the video already. You're also introduced to Angelic Guards, which are the most annoying loaders in the game other than Ion loaders and Jet loaders. So I guess they're not the most annoying, but they're pretty tanky. After you do that, you break out all the injectors and Angel dies. After you turn in the mission to Roland, a cutscene starts where Jack spawns in and kills Roland. And then he kidnaps Lilith and takes her to be his new siren because we just killed Angel, so now he doesn't have one. So that is the conclusion to one of the coolest missions in the game. There is Where Angels Fear to Tread Part 2, where the actual Roland death happens. However, I don't know why they even added this mission. What I think should have happened is Lilith or Roland should have picked up the vault key off the ground and then the cutscene should have played instead of having it be its own separate mission. So I think this is easily an F tier mission only because there's just no content to it. Toil and Trouble. Yeah, this is another F tier mission in my opinion. Only because Sawtooth Cauldron is the most filler map in the entire game. The mission starts with the objective, head to Arid Nexus, and as soon as you head there, the bridge just raises up and then it says, head to Sawtooth Cauldron so we can get bombs to drop on the bridge, and then you'll just go right back into Arid Nexus. And I think it's just a little bit too fillery content for me. The mission starts out with you killing ambush commanders, and then you have to go blow up a buzzard for Mortar to come down. And you don't even have to kill Mortar is the thing. He's an optional enemy. Then you go up to the roof, kill 5 buzzards, and then pick up crates. The map's not the coolest either. It's pretty boring, honestly. The elevator is cool, and I do like the buzzard section at the end. But again, this can be super annoying if you don't have the right gear, and if you're just a new player and haven't done it before. But it's kind of a double-edged sword because after you've played it a lot of times, it's really easy to get through, and then it really feels like filler content because you just spent 10 minutes in Sawtooth Cauldron just to go right back to Arid Nexus. Now, data mining. I think this is a solid A tier mission. There's some really cool things in this. You have to blow up a pipe with your car by overloading all of these Hyperion pumping stations. And that part, I can see how people might not like that, just running into the stations and switching the levers. I think it ends up good because you get to drive your car into a pipe and explode it, which is always fun. You also get to go back to the Badlands in this mission and the very first part where the bus drops you off in Borderlands 1. And I think that's pretty cool. Where you first got dropped off on the bus, right next to it is where Saturn spawns in. It's basically like the Borderlands 1 map, but with some additions like that Hyperion base on top added to it. The Saturn fight's very difficult, but again, he's not a required enemy, so if it's too hard, you can kind of skip your way around him. Then you pick up the map data, which tells you where Jack and the warrior are located. Now for the final mission, the Talon of God. I think that this is the best mission in the entire game. I could honestly see where Angel's Fear to Tread being better than the Talon of God. However, I think that this mission is just so good because of the warrior fight and the fact that you get to take out Jack finally, and just the way that it ends off is very cool. The mission starts with you grabbing Claptrap. You can actually talk to the other citizens of Sanctuary and they'll give you gear for your fight. I don't usually do this, but I think it's a pretty cool addition to the game, and it really makes it seem like everyone is ready to take down Jack and is helping you out in any way they can. It starts with you heading to Iridium Blight. You do this loader fight scene where Claptrap's trying to get the doors to Heroes Pass open. He finally gets the doors open and realizes that he can't come with us because there's a giant flight of stairs, which is pretty funny. The first time I saw that, I laughed pretty hard. After that, you make it into Heroes Pass where Brick and Mordecai are with you. They fly in on this ship. Brick drops down and starts beating up Hyperion soldiers and robots, while Mordecai's staying on this big ship and sniping them out for you. Mordecai's also able to use, I can't remember if it's a laser or his own sniper, but he's able to shoot out these Hyperion death walls for you, which is pretty cool, like the one Claptrap went through right here. After you make it past all the enemies, you finally make it to the Vault of the Warrior, where Jack is waiting for you. Disappointingly, I really don't think the Jack fight is hard. It's not a hard fight. If you have the B or honestly any good weapon, Jack is one of the easier enemies in the game. Now I'm not saying it's easy your first time through, but he's not difficult. This is when it's revealed that Jack was able to awaken the warrior. Who saw that coming? So then this giant lava rock dragon monster comes out of the earth. This fight is very cool. The warrior has a lot of health and it takes a while to kill even if you have pretty good gear. The only thing that might get a little bit tiring about this mission is hearing Lilith scream the lava is rising. Other than that, it's pretty great. After you take out the warrior, you call in a moonshot cannon which explodes him and gives you a guaranteed legendary, which can be something like the conference call, the volcano, the flacker, or you could get a rubberized leech. But other than that, it's pretty good. The shield bubble on Jack drops after the warrior's dead, and then you can either kill Jack or let Lilith kill him. And after you take him out, or Lilith does, you touch the vault key, which ends the story and reveals that there are hundreds of more vaults scattered across the galaxy and different planets, which really sets up Borderlands 3. I wish it could have been a little bit better. After that, the story ends and you can either start TVHM or do all the side missions. This is my ranking for the missions in Borderlands 2. I kind of explained why I put them here, but at the end of the day, it's just my opinion. And honestly, I don't know if it's a perfect list. It's definitely not perfect to everybody. So I want to hear in the comments what your guys' list would be and if there's any changes that you'd make compared to mine right now. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment. I want to hear what your guys' ranking is or whatever suggestions you have to the list that I made. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, and have a great rest of your day. See ya.